Hello friends, I am back. My name's Holly and welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before, and if you haven't been, well then I hope you enjoy. I'm trying to keep my videos to 10 minutes right now, so we'll see how I do today. I keep having to kind of speed things up towards the end because I run out of time. So let me get right to what my intention is for this video today, which is kind of woven through my intention is a continuation of what I was talking about yesterday, which my intentions for the new year. And I kind of went through and solidified them a little bit more, kind of weeded out what I thought maybe isn't ultimately going to work out. One of which I really want to learn French, but I can just feel that it's not the time. And my idea is to make this all tangible, right? Or not tangible, that's not the word, reachable, doable, so that I don't get overly frustrated with a bunch of different things. And yes, at some point in my life, I very much intend to learn how to speak or at least read French. No, probably speak first and then read French. But I feel like I just got a little bit too much going on, and I really want to keep focused on reading. So I started this last night, The Last Man by Mary Shelley, which I mentioned in the last couple of videos, and I read the blurb to you yesterday, or at least part of it. Yeah, so this ends in 2100, so 75 years from now, and this takes place after some humanity decimating plague. I have to say, I'm a little daunted. I mean, I already was, but when I started reading this last night, it's not a super easy read. And I think in part it has to do with the fact that it was written in the mid 1800s, if I remember correctly. And so it was kind of giving me flashbacks to college because I was a Spanish major in college, which equated really to being a Spanish literature major because that's the majority of what the I needed to take in order to achieve that degree. In there was mixed Spanish linguistics. I'm trying to think of some of the other sort of outlier classes that I had to take. Spanish linguistics was hard, and I must have had to take that because I took it, I failed it. Can you imagine getting an F in college? Yes, I did, twice actually. The other class that I failed was literature, I think from the 1400s. And I mean, I'm not a native speaker. I really bit off way more than I could chew when I decided to become a Spanish major in the junior year of my 5-year arc. And anyway, so this is giving me flashbacks to reading a language I understand, but because it's kind of ancient, well, this isn't ancient, but because it's older, it's the way people spoke 150 years ago. It's hard. It's really hard. It's more than 150 years ago. How many years ago is it? Yeah, maybe something like that. Math is not my subject. So anyway, I'm gonna keep going. I'm doing it for Fran. I love her. She's my one Patreon that I really pay attention to. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Last night I almost was like, you know what? I want to enjoy what I'm reading. I'm just gonna get. I have so many books I truly want to joy. I feel joyful about reading, and I really want to get to. And do I want to really commit a full month to this? Yeah, I'm gonna do it, or at least I'm gonna try for more than, yeah, I'm like 10 pages in. So there's a big introduction. There's a lot of like what am I trying to say? The introduction is even before the introduction is all this biographical information, which actually does help, I think, because you kind of begin to understand the world that Mary Shelley was living in when she wrote this, and her she'd gone through huge trauma before she wrote this book. So I suppose it's helpful, and I just need one of the things I hope to get better at this year and overall in my life is being disciplined. I'm not a real disciplined person. Like when I set out to be a yoga teacher, I didn't really do it to be a yoga teacher. I was just studying yoga because I was fascinated and I wanted to learn more and I was really called to it. And so that's kind of, I've had the luxury in my life of kind of being like that, of being able to follow my interests. And if something doesn't speak to me right away, if something doesn't come easily to me right away, I kind of just abandon it and I'm going to try to stick with it. And I think Fran, being a native speaker, native Spanish speaker, I'm trying to remember right now what country Fran is from. It's South America. Um, I think it's Chile. If she can read it in English, I can read it in English. And I was looking at her notes today on her weekly wrap up she does on Patreon, and she's reading it in English. I'm pretty sure because she had a list of words she's having to define for herself because the vocabulary is not easy in this either. And it's really making me flash back to college because I would have to stop like every 4 or 5 words and look up, and I would end up, looking up some specific vine that grows in the spring in Central America. And it was a lot of work to read that literature. And I graduated by the skin of my teeth. So um, I'm gonna keep up with this. I'm gonna try to be really disciplined. I'm gonna try to keep going, and we'll see where that takes me. The other thing that I want to mention is two things. I am gonna really do my best. No, I'm going to not buy any books from the first of the year until April. I'm giving it April 1. I have been in a really undisciplined habit of just like buying books. I think like, oh, it's $5. Oh, it's $7. I can do that because, as I've mentioned many times, I buy most of my books on thrift books online. And so you get into this kind of lazy habit. I get into this lazy habit of thinking, oh, $6, oh, $14. But it really does add up at the rate I'm buying books. And I am surrounded by stacks of books in my place. So it's time for me to dig in, get through some books that I already have in my collection, which brings me to this book, which I bought, I believe, like right when I started college, like in the first couple of years. It's got a 1988 date. I can't quite figure out if that's I think that's the first year it was published. So I'm not sure if that's exactly when I bought it, but I'm pretty sure I bought this new. And this is a nice book, and it was only $10 at the time. I'm sure a book like this now would be close to 20 if you bought it new. So anyway, why am I waving it around? Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And one of the reasons I really want to read this now is because I'm watching 100 Years of Solitude on Netflix right now. If you don't know, it's a series on Netflix right now. It's a Colombian program, and I'm enjoying it. Although last night, the episode we watched last night was like wow, violent, and I'm normally somebody who avoids violence on TV and movies. So I was really kind of like not enjoying that. But overall, I love the story and I love the magic realism with it, which is such a hallmark of his writing. And I noticed in here, I was reading the blurb, and then I noticed a couple of the what do you call them? There are like the comment. Why do I do this when I'm making a video? I just cannot think of what I'm trying to say. When they have like the reviews, the blurbs from other authors. One of them is Thomas Pynchon. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And he calls this the Garcia Marquezian voice. And I think I really understand that. I've read some of his work in college. I don't recall what I did. I think I just read short stories. A lot of my teachers would just take parts out of books and create these, just Xerox copy notebooks that went with the different courses that I took. And I'm pretty sure that's where I read his stuff because I actually don't know that I've read a novel of his all the way through, even though I profess to be a huge fan of his writing. So this book I have been dragging around all this time. You guys can't imagine how many times I've moved since I bought this book. Like seriously, I can't even count, nor am I going to try to do it right now, but it's like 20 times. And so if this book has stayed with me all that time, then it's time to give it its due. I am creating a list now of books that I promise myself I'm going to get through in 2025. There's plenty of books I want to read, but this goes on to my promise list. So hopefully I get through it. I'm going to save the blurb for when I actually start reading it, and I'll read it to you then. And I bet some of you have already read this. So if you've read this, will you comment and let me know what your thoughts are and give me a little inspiration to get through it? I want to read this year, I want to read 25 books. And I know that's not that many. There's plenty of you who read double, triple, and quadruple that amount. I mention every single video that I read a little slow. I get through books when I love them. I get through them pretty good, pretty fast. Really use bad grammar sometimes when I'm doing this. Um, I do get through books that I really am enjoying and that aren't tough to read. I can just kind of plow through them, but I'm still developing the skill again, redeveloping the skill again, because I went a lot of years without being very dedicated to reading. So, 25 books, I figured it's 2025. So, 25 books this year. If I can move past that, great. And I know I can do it. So, I like to give myself achievable goals that then inspire me to maybe even move beyond that. So we'll see how this year ends up. But I'm definitely going to read this, and I'm definitely going to try to read this, and hopefully I'll get to the other books that I want to, that I really want to read. I got a few right now that I mentioned in a past video, I think 2 videos ago. So that's it for today. I hope everybody's doing good on this second day of the year. And yeah, comment. Let me know what you think. I love your feedback. As long as it's constructive criticism, I can handle it. All right, my friends. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.